Hello and welcome to Invest with Rules Market Update. It's November 8th, Friday. You made it through the week. My name is Scott Bennett with Mike Olafson. Mike, how you doing today?
Excellent. Happy Friday, Scott. Happy Friday, everybody.
Love it. We're going to cover two big topics. We're going to cover Axon. Axon Enterprises. We're going to break down our investment process with a stock like Axon today on earnings, and we're going to cover in the back half market trends. And before we do, just world's quickest disclosure, this is just information, not a direct solicitation to go buy or sell anything. Please always manage your risk tolerance, your financial plan, do your due diligence. You know the dance. So let's start with Axon Enterprises. This is a stock that's a part of our billion-dollar fund manager follow the big money process. So Axon, their mission is to protect more lives in more places. Very simply, if you want to go to their website, they have some pretty interesting items, but they offer things like smart weapons. If you remember the company Taser, they offer a lot of enterprise software for our armed forces. So think like cameras, sensors, tracking devices. They have a lot of things in regards to how to help our armed forces get better with technology. So Axon, if you think about the kind of the where the police force locally has been, this is like really getting techie. And then finally, though, who is using these products? It's obviously law enforcement, it's the federal, it's corrections. It could be very simply as like our fire department. And if you think about the kind of government funding, some of this money is going straight to Axon. So before we jump in, I'm going to talk a little bit about our process and kind of how we got to Axon in the first place. So first, we're going to look at our June billion-dollar fund manager report. And at the end of the month, we kind of simplify the report and just stack rank it for the return for the month. But very simply, we've had a process. We've kind of changed it up a little bit from a grade to a ranking. But very simply, Axon was on our June report. Axon was on our July report, so up 4%, up 5%. Axon was on our August report, up 17%. Axon was on our September report, up 8%. Axon was on our October report, up 7%. And Axon's on our current November report. As of right now, it's up 23.75%. Mike, any comments? So just we maybe talk a little bit about the billion-dollar fund manager analysis report and just kind of Axon's been all over our radar.
Yep. When something keeps knocking on your door month after month, you got to listen. And the good news here is we did listen. And as we'll talk about over the next few slides, it's been an interesting trade and a good lesson learned from us for us that actually influenced our future process. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we won't be tasing ourselves, but it's close. So you'll see this the way we report now. So moving forward from a grade to a rank. So Axon is number 12 out of 46 from our report this month. You'll see AppLovin has done a little bit better. It's number 3 out of 46. It's up 55% for the month. But we track the change today, the year-to-date return, and then the signals and the trends. And obviously, we'll talk about overheat in a minute. But here's the trend roadmap Invest with Rules chart that we give members. If you have one, great. If you need one, reach out to us, hello@investwithrules.com. So Axon, we're going to start with the buy point that we added it to our newsletter and our advisory service. So, Mike, anything you'd add here in regards to obviously it was on a gas signal, a short-term and long-term uptrend. Tell me, let's just
Yep.
go through a few of these slides really quick.
Yeah, definitely. So this one clearly shows the buy point. Now, definitely one could have taken on that first gas about 3 weeks earlier than we bought it. One could have taken it, no problem. We had a slot freed up and we took it in July. And you could see, and it came out of the gate relatively well, pulled back a wee bit, but still stayed a gas. So we stuck with it because it did not violate our stop loss. Then if we tick forward, this is further into our owning Axon. And here's the lesson learned I mentioned just a minute ago, where at the time we had bought the Axon position, it was 2.5% of our portfolio, and of course growing because of the performance. And it came off a coast again, went immediately to overheat in the middle of the chart there. But then when it went back to gas, overheat, of course, is that, hey, be careful. This thing is a bit too hot to touch. But then you'll see what happened. The overheat pulled back into gas, still a gas. Now, we could have added another position at this point. At the time, and the lesson learned for us is at the time we were still doing our analytics and back testing on our new position sizing algorithm, which basically is saying 20 positions at 5% each. So this could have been a nice natural add-on to bring up to 5%, but we hadn't finalized that yet. So we rode Axon into the fall at that 2.5% position, which brings us to the next slide, which is what it's doing today. And as you could see, it had that great reaction on earnings. You could see it in the chart. And you could also see, though, interestingly enough, that 2 days before this earnings gap up, the overheat triggered as well. So the point there being that the market, there was kind of that bubbling enthusiasm about Axon going into earnings, and the trend roadmap was basically saying, hey, don't buy it going into earnings. If you're in it, great. You got cushion, great. Just like we did, we held it, but the overheat was kind of a warning signal. Hey, be careful.
Yeah, and this is
Anything
just
to add, Scott?
now,
Yeah.
this is our technical process. We're looking for short-term and long-term uptrends. We're looking to hold things as long as we can. And I'm going to just jump to a little bit more data. So this is an actual chart from Investors Business Daily's Market Surge. We are subscribers. There's no partnership, but we use it and like it. So Axon Enterprises, AXON is your ticker. It's had double-digit earnings. It's had double-digit sales. You'll see the green line keeps accelerating, which is the earnings line. So it keeps getting more profitable. The green arrow is where we added it. I just want to point out it's a really faster growing company. It's really steady. They're seeing momentum. So we have the funds buying it. We have our trend analysis really liked it. And very simply, was our kind of going back to our ad. So 7/5 of 2024. And the black line is Axon, which is again, this is the jump up after earnings today, and the bottom line is the S&P 500. So the S&P is up a very respectable 7.7%. Axon is up 88%. So there's kind of the two things here. So there's the fund buying, there's the trend, and there's a massive amount of momentum going into this name, as you see, kind of as Mike likes to say, strength begets strength. Anything else to add here?
Yeah, and I'm so glad you brought up that word momentum because that really is the key. And it's why when we say Axon is 12 out of 46, you know with that rank that over the last several months, it has been just by the numbers. You don't have to look at the chart. You know that it's been a super strong stock relative to the rest of the market. And this chart, picture's worth 1,000 words. This really proves it.
Yeah. And this is a little bit of why we're moving from kind of grade to rank. It's a volatility adjusted momentum. So
Yep.
we're going to pivot now to the live sheet. So for members only. But again, thank you. And we'll kind of keep pivoting here. But everything's based on the trend roadmap when it comes to ETFs beyond, and we do it for stocks as well. So we're very simply looking for these stage two advancing phases, these short-term and long-term uptrends on gas signals, and we're being really cautious on any stage four declines. That's where we really get cautious. So today, Friday, November 8th, the market health score 10 is incredibly strong. Call it 0 or 1 is incredibly horrible. We're in a really strong uptrend. Obviously, the market digested the election for Trump's second term. The market digested the Federal Reserve cutting rates by 25 basis points this past week. And there's tons of corporate earnings. So we're a 9 out of 10. This is a really strong uptrend. In the newsletter and advisory, we're really heavily invested, 98.6. I always think it like the concept of driving on the highway. We're in the left lane. That's just the reality of where we are. The trend is screaming at us, stay in the left lane at the moment. Could we at some point move more to the middle or the right? Of course. But the market is it's just follow the trend is the story. And then finally, let's just stop there. So we talked a lot about following the trend today. We talked a lot about following big money, following our risk management rules. If things don't work, please have a process in place that do not let things that are in these short-term and long-term downtrends, these break signals, these torture, try your hardest to have a process to say, at least incrementally make decisions to scale out of things that are treating you horribly versus just sitting there and taking it. It's a mentally challenging and it can kind of ruin your day. It doesn't need to be part of your process. So again, thank you for being a member. For those who are self-directed investors, if you have questions from what we just covered, email us hello@investwithrules.com. If, as an example, you're like, that sounds really great, I just don't have the time and I could use a little bit more oversight over my finances, time plus financial advice, email us if you have any comments or just want to set up a really quick kind of portfolio review at hello@iwradvisors.com. And right now, the newsletter for new members, so if you have any friends or family you think this might be interesting for them to be a part of the community as well, it's currently on a wait list. We're going to open enrollment at the end of the month. We're just trying to, as you see, we're making a lot of small little adjustments and updating the membership site. So again, if someone were to put their first name, last, or first name, email, then we'll certainly reach out when the enrollment opens. All right. Thank you again for all your time, Mike. Final words?
Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you for being a member. Really appreciate it.
Same here. Talk soon. Bye-bye.